Hi, this is Rebecca Reinking, and I want to give you a demo and explain how you might do diadochokinesis or DDK rates as part of your oral motor assessment. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a student and even an early career speech pathologist, I never saw another speech pathologist administer DDK rates. So it was something that I had to learn and read through the journal articles to try to figure out what to do. And I just want to share some tips on what I do now to make it easy for me, because if I'm being really honest, it's very hard to juggle counting, repetitions, keeping a child engaged, recording them, and keeping an eye on the time to make sure you have administered it correctly. So what I will go through today is my tips for 2 to 6 year olds if you are using the Robbins and CLE norms outlined in their journal article. Now, in terms of materials, I usually have with me a pen or a marker if I am writing or doing a little tally mark on the table, which is something I often do. I usually have 2 forms of timers. I might have like a stopwatch, and then I might have my phone as well, because sometimes I'm recording and I'm timing as well, just to make sure I'm reliable, or I will audio or video record me so that I can go back and listen and make sure that I am getting the correct interval. Because the thing to know with the Robbins and CLE norms is that we are counting the mean number of repetitions per second over a 3-second interval. So what that means is I will usually have the child say the number of repetitions as quickly as they can for about 3 seconds, and then I will count them up, and then I divide it by 3 so that I can reference this chart and see where the child sits and if they are at that expected age range or not for their mean number of repetitions per second. Now, if all of that sounds confusing, I will show you a little demo clip. What I want you to know though is, because I work with kids aged between 2 to 6, I usually give visuals to help the child, and I give demos and multiple practice opportunities. Yes, this is a test, but I also want to see the child do the best, and I want to see how they can really repeat these syllables. So I want to give them a couple of chances. I will usually say, here we go. This is like popcorn. Popcorn makes a p sound like this. P, p, p. I want to see how many times you can say it, or I want to see how fast you can make all these popcorn sounds. Listen to how I do it. Did you hear how quick that was? I want to see if you can do it. And I usually will let the child have a couple of opportunities first, and then I will bring out the timer. And often I will do 2 or 3 times recording, because I want to make sure that I get a good average and that the child isn't fatigued, or that they're saying the sounds, or they're not running out of breath. So I do like to give the child a couple of opportunities and give myself practice for timing, just to make sure that I can get the most accurate score. So you know the popcorn here, and you know how we've been working on that p sound? I want to see, and I'm going to try to count how many times you can say p. And it might be like this, okay? So I'm just going to go like this. You ready? And I'm going to do the timer, and I'm going to see how many times I can say p. So I'm going to go p, 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 like that. Okay. Do you think you can have a try at it? Okay. Yeah, so the popcorn, when it pops, it goes p, 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 and we're going to keep going. And I'm going to say start, and then I'm going to say stop. Okay? So do you want to try it? Ready, go. Whoa! I like that. Can you try that again? And I'm going to see if I can count. I'm going to do these little, so every time you go p, p, I'm going to draw on my special table. So we're going to go p, 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 p. So I'm going to pop that right there so we remember. And just wait, and I'm going to say ready, set, go. Ready, go. Whoa! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. I'm going to write 14 here. Okay. Now I will do the same for the t sound. So this is the tapping sound. and then I will do the same for k, and I like to call it a cutting sound. I like to have little gestures as well as videos as well. I find that it helps kids remember what sound to say. Ka, 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 ka. So we say that that's the cutting sound. And what you might notice is when you get to the trisyllable, which is pataka, this might be easy for the child to say. They might be able to because they have practiced pa, they have practiced ta, and they have practiced ka. If this is too tricky and they can't say pataka, I will then ask them if they want to say the word patty cake, because it does contain that P, that T, and that K sound. It just might be easier for the child to remember that word. So I always have that word as like a little backup. Now, the really important thing to know is that when you are counting the number of repetitions the child is saying in that 3-second interval, when you are using this chart, you have to divide the total number by 3 so that you can get the mean number of repetitions per second. So my little guy, he did 14 repetitions of the p sound, and I just divided that by 3, and then I looked at the chart, acknowledging what their age was. I like that it's broken down, and then that's how I get my score. So it's really important to know that you have to divide it by 3 if you're reading this chart correctly, so that you can get the mean number of repetitions per second. And because all of this counting, it's really hard. This is why I like to record myself so I can go back and listen, or I might audio record the file and then cut it off so that I just get a 3-second snapshot, and then I can count then. And often I've got my marker and I am timing, and I am just doing this. I'm just doing quick little tally marks on the table, and then I can look and count. And that's another reason why I like to give multiple opportunities or do 2 or 3 times, so that I can make sure that my counting is reliable, and I might take the average as well. So I hope that that helps. If you think you need this broken down even more, just know in our oral motor assessment resource, we do outline the instructions here as well. So you might just follow this loose script and have it on your table, just so you know that you are completing all the steps. And then you can record all the information on the form as well and have the chart there. So it's all together if you don't just want to get the norms and refer to the journal article. This is a really neat summarized way that you can do your DDK rates, have the instructions and the visuals as well right there in front of you, and hopefully get the information that you need for your reporting on those DDK rates. If this video helped you, if it just provided you with some more clarity, we really would love if you could like, comment, or subscribe. The support from our SLP community really helps to make more videos, and we always take requests. So if there is anything else in an oral motor assessment that you're not sure about, please leave a comment below so that we can start making more videos, demos, and tutorials that support you to be a more confident speech language pathologist.